Modern agriculture has become one of the main forces destroying the soil that sustains us. To boost yields, we plow, spread chemicals, and spray pesticides, forgetting one critical fact. Soil is alive. When microbes die and structure collapses, wind and rain strip the surface, leaving behind hard, lifeless ground that can't hold water or nutrients. The solution isn't more fertilizer, it's plants. Certain species can restore soil by fixing nitrogen, breaking up compaction with deep roots, stabilizing structure, fighting erosion, and reviving microbial life. At the University of Washington, long-term trials showed that cover crops, minimal tillage, and rotation increased fertile topsoil fourfold in just 2 decades. Soil can recover, but only with the right allies. Plants act like underground doctors, pulling water and nutrients from the depths, creating biomass and opening pathways for new life. In this series, I'll show you 10 of these healing plants, how they work, why they matter, and how you can start using them right now. This is your roadmap to bringing dead ground back to life. Buckwheat may look delicate at first glance with its slender stems and clusters of small white flowers, but don't let that fool you. This plant is a powerhouse when it comes to reviving tired soil, and the best part is how quickly it works. Within just 30 days from seeding, buckwheat bursts into bloom, creating a living carpet that shades the ground and chokes out weeds before they even have a chance to take hold. Farmers have known this for generations. Plant buckwheat and you don't need herbicides. It does the job naturally, but its strength isn't just above the surface. Buckwheat's roots secrete compounds that help unlock phosphorus and other nutrients bound tightly in the soil, making them available to future crops. At the same time, the root system loosens the ground, improving structure and aeration. In other words, buckwheat prepares the soil, turning it into a better home for whatever comes next in your rotation. And then there's the bonus that makes buckwheat beloved by beekeepers across the world: its flowers. Buckwheat blooms provide one of the richest nectar sources, producing a dark, strong-flavored honey prized for both its taste and its health benefits. Imagine this: while your soil is quietly healing underneath, your field is buzzing with pollinators and you're literally creating a sweet harvest on top of it. This is why buckwheat is often called a multi-tool for the soil. It restores structure, suppresses weeds, mobilizes nutrients, feeds the pollinators, and it does all of this in record time. If you want a fast, visible way to kickstart the recovery of your land, buckwheat is one of the easiest first steps you can take. Lupines are more than just a splash of color in a field. They are one of nature's most effective tools for rebuilding soil. With their tall, striking flower spikes, they draw your eye, but the real magic happens underground. Like other legumes, lupines form a partnership with special bacteria that live on their roots. These microbes pull nitrogen straight from the air and transform it into a form the soil can use. That means when lupines grow, they're not just feeding themselves, they're enriching the ground with one of the most important nutrients plants need. Their roots deserve special attention. Lupines send down strong, deep taproots that push through compacted, lifeless layers of earth. Where most plants would hit a wall and stop, lupines drill downward, breaking open tight soils and creating channels for air, water, and the roots of future crops. In degraded ground, this can be the difference between soil that suffocates and soil that breathes again. When lupines complete their cycle, the story isn't over. Their lush biomass, leaves, stems, roots, returns to the earth as organic matter, feeding soil microbes and boosting humus levels. This constant cycle of growth and decay leaves the land more fertile than it was before. And while they're working underground, those tall blooms are busy attracting bees and other pollinators, bringing even more life into the system. Lupines have been valued for centuries, not only for their beauty, but also for their ability to transform poor soil into fertile ground. If you're trying to revive land that feels worn out, planting lupines is like hiring a team of underground engineers and above-ground pollinator magnets all at once. They make the soil richer, looser, and more alive, and all you have to do is give them space to grow. Clover has been called the savior of soil since the Middle Ages, and it's easy to see why. This humble plant doesn't shout for attention, but it quietly transforms the ground beneath your feet. As a member of the legume family, clover works with symbiotic bacteria on its roots to capture nitrogen from the air and turn it into natural fertilizer. That means it feeds the soil while it grows, reducing the need for synthetic inputs and leaving the ground richer for whatever comes next. Its root system plays another vital role. Clover's roots weave through the soil, binding particles together and improving structure. They prevent erosion by holding onto the top layer during heavy rains and wind, and they help water soak in instead of running off. Over time, the soil becomes more stable, better aerated, and more resilient. Clover isn't just about underground work, it also provides a green shield above the surface. It creates a dense cover that suppresses weeds and keeps the ground from drying out. When it's mowed or incorporated into the soil, its leafy mass turns into organic matter that further boosts fertility. And let's not forget the flowers. Clover blossoms are a magnet for bees and other pollinators, providing nectar during times of the year when other food sources are scarce. Every patch of clover is like a rest stop for pollinators, strengthening the broader ecosystem while you heal your land. When you plant clover, you're not just adding another cover crop. You're setting in motion a natural system that fertilizes, protects, and revitalizes your soil, all while supporting pollinators and biodiversity. For centuries, farmers trusted clover to restore life to their fields, and today it remains one of the most reliable allies you can bring into your garden or farm. Alfalfa has earned the title Queen of Forages, and it's not just because livestock thrive on it. This plant is one of the most powerful soil builders you can grow. Its secret lies underground, in roots that can reach astonishing depths, sometimes 10, 15 feet, and in the right conditions, even more. Those roots don't just pull up water from places other plants can't touch, they also break through compacted layers, creating channels that improve drainage and let air and moisture circulate freely. Like other legumes, alfalfa partners with nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Together, they pull nitrogen straight from the atmosphere and store it in the soil, making it available for future crops. When an alfalfa stand is cut down or plowed in, it leaves behind a natural boost of fertility that can save you from relying on chemical fertilizers. The benefits don't stop there. Alfalfa's dense growth shields the ground from erosion, its deep roots stabilize the soil, and its rich biomass becomes organic matter that feeds microbes and builds humus as it breaks down. This improves the soil's ability to hold water, making it more resilient to both heavy rains and dry spells. Farmers have long known that a field of alfalfa is like an investment in the future of the land. Yes, it takes time to establish, but once it's in place, it works tirelessly under the surface, repairing the structure, nourishing the soil, and protecting it from being stripped away. If your land is exhausted and struggling to hold life, alfalfa is a powerful ally. It's not a quick fix, but over time it acts like a natural engineer, drilling deep, restoring fertility, and leaving the ground healthier than it was before. Comfrey is one of those plants that doesn't just grow, it works. Gardeners and farmers often call it a dynamic accumulator, and for good reason. Its deep taproots can dive several feet into the soil, pulling up nutrients like potassium, calcium, and magnesium from layers too deep for most crops to reach. Those nutrients then concentrate in Comfrey's broad leaves, which you can cut and use as a natural fertilizer right on the surface. It's like having a living nutrient pump that constantly mines the subsoil and delivers it back to where your crops need it most. But Comfrey's power goes beyond what it stores. Its massive leafy growth creates an endless supply of biomass. When you cut those leaves and lay them on your beds, they break down quickly, feeding soil microbes and accelerating composting. Many growers even add chopped comfrey to their compost piles to heat them up faster, because the plant decomposes so efficiently. This steady stream of green fertilizer can replace a good chunk of what you might otherwise buy in bags. At the same time, comfrey improves the soil's physical structure. Its roots penetrate and loosen dense ground, opening channels for water and air. Its leaf litter builds organic matter that enhances moisture retention, keeping the soil from drying out too quickly in hot weather. Over time, patches of comfrey act like sponges in the landscape, helping your soil stay balanced and alive. There is a caveat. Comfrey can spread aggressively if you plant the wrong type. That's why many growers choose sterile hybrids like Bocking 14. which won't take over your field. Managed wisely, though, Comfrey becomes one of the most reliable allies you can add to your soil building toolkit. Think of Comfrey as a worker you never have to pay, always pulling nutrients up from the depths, always producing more leaves to feed the ground, always improving the structure beneath your feet. If you want a plant that quietly but powerfully transforms your soil, Comfrey deserves a place in your system. Daikon radish is often called a biodrill, and once you see what it does underground, you'll understand why. Its long, powerful taproot pushes straight down through compacted soil, breaking apart hard clay layers that most crops can't penetrate. When that root eventually dies and decomposes, it leaves behind channels in the earth, tunnels that let water sink in instead of running off, and pathways for the roots of future plants to explore. It's like natural tillage without the tractor. But Daikon's role goes beyond loosening soil. Those deep roots act as nutrient miners, pulling up nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and other minerals from layers far below the surface. When the plant breaks down, it releases those nutrients back into the upper soil, where your next crop can use them. In other words, Daikon doesn't just dig, it redistributes fertility from deep underground to where it really matters. Above the ground, Daikon creates a lush canopy that suppresses weeds, shading them out before they can take hold. Beneath the surface, the decaying roots improve both aeration and water infiltration, making the soil more resilient to droughts and heavy rains alike. Farmers often plant it as a cover crop after harvest because it traps leftover nitrogen that would otherwise leach away in winter, holding it in its biomass until it can be released in the spring. The beauty of Daikon is that it does heavy work quickly. In just one season, it can turn stubborn, compacted ground into looser, healthier soil ready for the next planting. It's not a miracle cure, but it's one of the most effective natural tools you can use to open up your soil, recover lost nutrients, and set the stage for stronger harvests. Sunflowers are more than just a bright face in the field. They're powerful allies in rebuilding soil. With deep, penetrating taproots, sunflowers reach into layers of earth that most plants can't access. They pull up water and nutrients from below, bringing them closer to the surface and leaving behind root channels that improve soil structure for the crops that follow. Over time, those roots act like natural scaffolding, helping the ground breathe and drain better. But sunflowers don't just work below the surface. Their tall, sturdy stalks stand as a natural barrier against erosion. They shield the soil from wind, break the impact of rain, and protect the delicate top layer from being washed or blown away. And when the plants decompose, all that biomass returns as organic matter, enriching the soil with nutrients and improving its ability to hold water. There's also the ecosystem benefit. Sunflowers are magnets for pollinators. Bees, butterflies, and countless other beneficial insects flock to their blooms. That surge of pollinator activity doesn't just help the sunflowers, it supports the health of the entire farm or garden. And once the seeds mature, they provide food for birds and wildlife, adding another layer of value. Planting sunflowers isn't just about aesthetics or seed harvest, it's about turning them into part of your soil restoration strategy. They loosen the earth, prevent erosion, cycle nutrients, and invite life back into your land. When you see a field of sunflowers, you're not only looking at beauty, you're looking at soil being healed from the roots up. Vetch is one of those plants that might not look impressive at first, but it's a quiet powerhouse when it comes to restoring soil. As a legume, it partners with nitrogen-fixing bacteria on its roots, pulling nitrogen from the air and converting it into a form that enriches the soil. That means every patch of vetch is like a natural fertilizer factory, giving you fertility without the bagged chemicals. But nitrogen is only part of the story. Vetch produces an incredible amount of biomass, lush green vines, leaves, and roots, that can be cut and left as mulch or worked back into the soil. As it breaks down, that organic matter feeds soil microbes, builds humus, and improves moisture retention. The result is a living blanket that both protects the ground and supercharges it for the next crop. Another strength of vetch is its ability to cover and smother. It spreads thickly, shading the soil and crowding out weeds while conserving moisture underneath. Farmers have used it since ancient times, not only as feed for livestock, but also as a helper of the soil, a way to rejuvenate fields that were tired and worn. Modern studies confirm what those early farmers already knew. Vetch improves fertility, prevents erosion, and supports healthier soil ecosystems. When you grow vetch, you're not just planting another cover crop. You're bringing in one of the most effective nitrogen fixers, a natural mulch maker, and a soil protector all in one. It's a humble plant, but its impact is anything but small. In fact, for centuries, people have trusted vetch to heal their land, and it still delivers today. Mustard might look simple, but in the soil, it acts like a powerful natural sanitizer and restorer. It grows fast, just 80 to 95 days from seed to maturity, making it one of the quickest tools you can deploy to improve your land between main crops. While it's alive, it covers the ground with dense green growth that shades out weeds and protects the soil from erosion. But the real magic happens when you cut it down and work it back into the earth. Inside mustard plants are compounds called glucosinolates. When the plant tissue breaks down, those compounds transform into natural biofumigants, substances that suppress harmful nematodes and certain soil-borne diseases. Farmers sometimes call mustard a green fumigant because it helps reset the biological balance of the soil without relying on synthetic chemicals. Mustard also works as a phytoremediator. Certain varieties, like brown mustard, Brassica juncea, have the ability to draw heavy metals and toxins out of contaminated soils. Over time, with proper management, this makes the land safer and healthier for future crops. And while it's doing that heavy lifting, mustard is also capturing leftover nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, storing them in its biomass and then releasing them back when it decomposes. For you, that means mustard is more than just a cover crop. It's a rapid-growing soil doctor that suppresses pests, cleans up toxins, conserves nutrients, and feeds the microbial life that keeps soil alive. If you're looking for a plant that can quickly protect and refresh your ground, mustard is one of the sharpest tools you can add to your system. Chicory is a plant with a hidden strength that makes it a true ally in soil restoration. Its deep taproot drives straight down through dense, compacted layers, loosening the ground and creating natural channels for water and air. Where rain might once have pooled or run off, chicory helps it sink in. Where roots of other plants would have stopped, chicory opens the way, making the soil more breathable and better drained. Over time, those channels remain even after the roots die back, giving future crops a ready-made path into the depths of the soil. But chicory's impact doesn't end underground. Its leafy growth adds organic matter when it breaks down, feeding soil microbes and improving structure. Fields with chicory tend to hold moisture better, resist erosion, and maintain a healthier balance between firmness and fluffiness. On slopes or exposed ground, chicory helps anchor the soil, protecting it from being washed away in storms or blown off by strong winds. There's also a benefit for the farm ecosystem. Chicory is highly nutritious forage for livestock, packed with minerals and protein, and its compounds are known to reduce internal parasites in grazing animals like sheep. At the same time, its blue flowers provide nectar and pollen for bees and other pollinators, making it a bridge between soil health and ecosystem health. When you grow chicory, you're planting more than a hardy perennial. You're adding a natural soil drill, a moisture manager, a forage crop, and a pollinator supporter all in one. It's the kind of plant that quietly but steadily strengthens both the land beneath your feet and the life that depends on it.